People, it is Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021 years after zero. Yesterday might have been 2019, but today, big day. Hey, the world of sports is absolutely thriving. Now, you might look around the internet and see not much popping off in the NFL. Maybe somebody will get signed somewhere. Congrats to Kevin King. Corner for the Packers just signed a one-year, $6 million deal. Not 100% sure if all $6 million are guaranteed. Probably a $1.5 to $2 million cap hit. That big move, bring them back, add some depth to the secondary. But aside from that, there ain't shit going on. All right? There is not much going on. Masker Week happened.
Yeah.
It carried into Brinks Week. Brinks Week happened. It has drizzled into this week a little bit. We got March Madness, but Sweet 16 doesn't start for a few days. So right now, we're having a phone bonanza.
Yeah!
How about that? A phone bonanza.
Yeah!
You can call in and 1-888-MAD-DOG. No. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Was it 1-866?
No, 1-888.
1-888-623-3646.
1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Get on the lines. Let's break the records that we have. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, what you're thinking, your questions, what you're talking about. We do have a guest in the second hour. What's going on?
Mid text to the group and goes, "That's not good. The phone just locked. Restarting."
So can't even have phone bonanza. The show stinks. Buckle up. All right, this Tuesday, March 23rd, is going to be 3 hours of live action. Okay, it's going to be wide open here today. We'll talk about some NFL teams. We'll give out some future bets that are available right now that Tone Diggs likes in a brand new segment called Tone's Future Fortunes. Ooh. I think we're even making a graphic potentially for that, so it has its entire thing. Diggs will give out some locks coming into next NFL football season on what he feels like who's going to win the division, where's some good money. Sweet 16, we'll have a little bit of conversation about that. A lot of teams you never fucking heard of are in there, okay? And that's what Madness is all about, okay? And we made a graphic. Zito made a graphic. Zito is very proud of this one.
Baby Z.
Thank you, guys.
Zito screenshotted somebody else's graphic and then put two little side cards on that thing to make it appear as if it was ours. Not a bad move, Zeke.
Yeah.
Zeke did spend 10 to 15 minutes attempting to make our own graphic, realized that it was going to be a bit difficult, so now we just stole March Madness's NCAA. You guys got enough money. You don't pay the kids anyway, so that's right. We a shout out. We'll talk about what's going on in the tourney, obviously. We'll talk about there's something coming on in this NFL owners committee stuff where they're starting to vote on stuff, and I don't know when this meeting is. It might be happening in a month from now. It might be happening sooner than that.
End of March.
End of March, okay, so a couple weeks from now, or maybe this week.
Yeah.
There's a vote happening. 17-game season is either going to pop off this week or not next season. Also, Sky Judge is being talked about. So this is something where the previous meeting, I believe they pitched rules ideas. And they're asked to be very creative with these rules ideas because maybe your incredibly obnoxious idea could lead to another thing that could make our game better. And there's an entire committee that is committed to changing the game, evolving the game. We've seen the rules change a lot over the last 10 years, whether it's technology or whether it's fantasy football, whether it's safety. You've seen a lot of things happen. The kickoff, the extra point, the way people are allowed to hit, a strike zone, everything. There is even reviewing. Remember, that wasn't even something that was happening 10 years ago or even maybe a little bit more than that. But there's always things evolving. So in the previous meeting, I do believe the teams are tasked all year to show up at that meeting with these ideas. Like, hey, this is how we make the game better. Some of them are ridiculous. Then I believe there's a group of people that kind of sort through those. And then this particular meeting, I believe, is when they enact some things. I think this is when they start enacting some things. The 17-game season potentially comes to be, I would assume it's already been voted upon behind closed doors without an official vote because the 11-year, $110 billion media deal, I would assume, revolves around a potential 17th game plus an extra wild card weekend game on each day or whatever. So I would assume that's already in there. But the Sky Judge potentially becoming something is very good for football. And I'm not just saying that as somebody who, isn't scared to let a referee know, like, hey, you're a pretty big part of this. You need to stop fucking up. Like I'm okay. But also, there's a good call, I'm also like, hey, ref, that's a good call.
There it
Right?
is.
Like, I feel like I'm very balanced with that whole thing. I always have been. Even whenever I played soccer as a child, always very communicative with the refs. They didn't always love it. They didn't wonder why a 10-year-old, 11-year-old was giving them like a, hey, good call, or hey, can't have it. You know what I mean? So there's always that type of thing. But as I got into college, you do, as a kicker, you always are talking to a ref whenever you go out to get the ball to kick off. So I naturally already have conversations. And then when you punt in college, you're like, which foot? You know, like, well, watch some film. Okay, it's a big one. It's my right. But that conversation used to happen. Then in the NFL, the ref's standing right behind me. The head ref is standing right behind me. And if they have any personality at all, they're going to give me like a little good luck. And then I am obviously, if somebody talks to me, I'm going to say something back. And in turn, I feel like I have I think I have above average relationship with referees than, I don't want to say anybody that's ever played before, because I think quarterbacks have that relationship with them. But I talk to refs on a very regular basis whenever I was playing, because I always had a lot of respect for referees. I understand it is a terrible position to be in. Nobody's showing up at the stadium or the arena going, go Stripes! Nobody. They have no fans. Nobody's pulling for them. The only people that are pulling for them is whenever they fuck over the other team. So I understand that it's very difficult being a ref. And with the advancement of technology, the entire world gets to see something that the people that are literally in the middle of the arena aren't allowed to see or don't have the privy to see. So that causes, especially with social media, with the group thing and how things can trend like that, some of these refs look like the dumbest fucking humans on earth, and they don't even know it until they put the whistle down, they get in that locker room, they open their phone up, and it's bling, ding, 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 text messages from all their old friends. Do not look on the internet right now. Also, probably get a cop to escort you out of the stadium. It is not a good position. It's not an easy position. So the NFL helping those refs out with somebody above that has access to all the replays, and just like in the XFL before COVID came in, they had the Xbox controller, they had the video, they had the camera on the person, they had the transparency of the conversation happening between the review Xbox person and the ref on the field. So literally, as you're watching what replay they're seeing, you're hearing the person go, well, we could see how you saw that as 2 feet in, but really that toe, so that's not a completion. And go ahead and you don't have to run 100 yards to go look into a tiny little thing. We don't have to act like there's anything else. You can actually, by the time you go to set the ball, I'll already have that thing done for you and just say, after review, actually, incomplete, go back. Everybody watching at home understands, the entire stadium understands too, because on the Jumbotron, you can put that information up there. It'll expedite the game, it'll expedite the review process, and ultimately in the end, it'll make the game a much more fair game where you don't have to rely on a potential back judge getting the yips and throwing pass interference, and then all of a sudden the game's different. Or a holding call that happens on every single thing, but that kills a drive in the third, fourth quarter, and you're giving the ball back to an incredibly offensive team. It's just like, there's some calls in there that we can't review currently, or maybe a ref messes up and we all see that. If we could get that thing fixed quickly, man, why don't we do it? Especially with the billions of dollars that are being gambled upon on these sports now. Let's not let some zebra, who is either good or bad at their job, that was potentially put in a bad position, that can't see something but the rest of the world can, so we're all fucked because of it. Let's go ahead and try to change it if we can. The NFL can vote on that at the end of this week. I hope they do. At Tone Diggs, your thoughts on that?
Even though it would be awesome, there's no way they allow the audio of the Sky Judge talking to the ref on the field, right?
Could you imagine?
Like, hey, I don't know.
Because if there's any lack of confidence, if there's any in the review person going, oh, if there's any of that sound, if you hear,
they don't even know.
If you even hear or like maybe a, like any of those sounds happen, it's going to immediately call for an uprise. Yeah. So I would assume they won't let the audio happen. Now, everybody will say that's because, well, that's of course because Roger Goodell's got them on the line and going to change the rules or whatever. People will say that conspiracy, fodder will begin off of that. But I do believe it's because there is a chance that the human that's doing it could go, man, I don't know.
That on the internet, that audio clip?
That would kill. So the immediate thought is it would be dope if they were able to do it exactly how the XFL did it, which is what I was laying out. But to your point, probably not going to be able to have the audio. Everybody's going to say that's because they want to be able to tell the refs what to do, but I assume it's because maybe, hey, listen, I'm not going to be the one that says that. I don't believe that theory, but if you want to run with that and you firmly believe it, who the fuck am I to tell you that's not what's happening? But the thought of one of those review people being a little bit not, certain about what they're calling, and then that game ending, and then something happening, and somebody getting fired and no playoff. There's just so much dependent upon all that. I would assume that's what they're thinking about. But as long as they're even thinking about making this happen, I'm pumped about it. At Boston, Connor, I would assume everybody's going to assume Bill Belichick's going to hack right in, right into that Sky Judge talking to the ref on the field, and it'll become conspiracy conversation for all time up there in Foxborough.
Well, is the Sky Judge going to have the Alberto Riveron standard of what a penalty is, or are we all going to be on the same page here?
Now, Zito, you're making a sound there because fellow Cuban brethren, Alberto Riveron, was put
Twice removed.
directly into our sights because he became the person that was in charge of overruling or overturning pass interference challenges, which I have been for forever.
Yeah.
Like, I have been... That's a 55-yard penalty potentially, okay? And they're like, well, it's too close to call. It's an opinion. It's like, well, it's a 55-fucking-yard penalty. Can we not potentially figure out whether or not it's right or wrong? So then they put that into review after the Los Angeles Rams Saints game and playoffs. We all saw that whole thing. And then Alberto Riveron was now the Dean Blandino.
Yeah.
He was now the Mike Pereira. He was the guy that ultimately was overturning these calls in these primetime games that we saw. Now, I'm not saying he overturns every call in every game. I do believe there's probably a flock of people in a room, and I think I've seen a shot of it. It's just basically people with chairs like an office with just TVs everywhere.
PI committee.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I just automatically assumed in primetime games, like, okay, this is Alberto Riveron doing this. And there would be blatantly obvious pass interference happening, and they wouldn't overturn it because they didn't want to basically, in my eyes, Alberto Riveron didn't want to make the on-field refs look bad. Because the on-field refs were not happy about the potential chance of a challenge of a pass interference because that's a judgment call. So now you're taking away my judgment? Like you're stripping me of my judgment? I am a referee. That's what I am. So Alberto Riveron, I thought he was sticking up for them all the time. Turns out Alberto Riveron sent us a message via one of the previous refs to tell us he was told to be on a completely, it had to be clear and obvious or blatant or whatever. So even though the entire internet might have agreed on something, Alberto Riveron had to hold the ruling to a different standard. That's just stupid. Like, let's get ex-players in there, okay? And obviously they're going to be like, well, maybe there'll be a conflict of interest. Okay, get a bunch of them that just can go in different games. Get an ex-player in there, and now you're helping out retired players. Tell them exactly what you're looking for. Let them be the judge. And by the way, if they get it wrong, have them fucking speak. Have them come out and speak about why they made the decision. I think that'll make everybody happier. But holding calls as well, that's a 10-yard drive killer. Yeah. Pass interference is a killer. It's just... There's a couple rules in there I think we could expedite, and I'm happy they're voting on it this weekend because at least they're thinking about it at this point.
So the 17th game probably going through. Hopefully Sky Judge does too, but I believe the 4th and 15 7 onside was 16-16 last year. I assume they're voting on that again too. I would think.
So I'm intrigued by that because if you're a defensive-minded coach, I assume you're going, no way in hell are we doing 4th and 15. No. Because what we just said, pass interference now extends the game. If there's a hold or a grab, first down, automatic first down, there's so many things that can happen in that. And surprise are the onside kicks, not surprise onside kicks, but onside kicks continued to fail miserably this year. I mean, Young Ho Koo, shout out. And, oh my God, he was on the show, Jason Sanders down in Miami. He also very good at it. But there's only a couple. I don't know, man. The 4th and 15 would be electrifying.
Oh, yeah.
If I had money on that game, what if a pick six happens?
Yeah, or a pass interference that has to go to the review booth on the onside kick putt.
Then you got the Xbox controller up there like,
I don't know. It wasn't egregious.
Well, it's 1st and 15. There's 4 seconds left. They had to go for a Hail Mary instead of the onside kick, right? So then if there's a defensive penalty if they run a hook and lateral or whatever it is, that extends the game another play.
Yeah, on time down.
So then that onside kick becomes, 4th and 15 or 4th and 15. That then becomes a 1st and 10. It would get pretty electrifying, but there's a chance you could get royally fucked out of something, which I assume is also a thought happening in these votes.
Is there any chance you think that they do change? You mentioned the holding call for the offense. Do you think they'll change that to a 5-yard penalty so it doesn't destroy
I've been
the drive?
pitching that for a long time too. I don't know why. I don't know why
Defense would be pissed.
I don't know if they would. I think defense would even be like, yeah, when we hold it's 5, when they do it's 10.
Yeah.
You know, like it's still 5 yards is still in the game of we need to get 10.
Yeah.
5 yards is still good, but the 10-yard holding penalty is just so devastating to a drive. It is.
Yeah.
It is just you're done basically.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so now it's 2nd and 20 or something like that. It's like you got no shot. You might as well just punt. And possessions are so important. A 5-yard loss, that's like a sack. Okay, so like that happens. The 10-yard loss though is a massive sack. That's quarterback sprinting back. It's just I think the holding penalty should change. I think the sky judge should change. And as somebody who, has, I believe, the record for the most amount of successful onside kicks in one season. I'm tied with somebody, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead and get rid of it.
Scratch it.
Yeah, it is the most selfish. Yeah, if I had to vote, I'd say, get it out. Nobody ever kick them ever again. That'd be nice. No, I think there's an art to kicking on sides. And I think you saw Young Ho Koo was good at it. He was a talented ball striker. But I think with the rules, it has then led to people saying like, all right, I'm not going to waste my time potentially ripping my groin, breaking my toe, which is what you have to do whenever you're kicking a high hop onside kick. You have to just jam your toe straight into the top of the ball. It does not feel good. It hurts. Your hip flexor hurts. Your groin hurts. And to get good at it, like you have to work. Like I used to have to work like 2-3 times a week in the off season on these things to get good because I wasn't great at the beginning of my career. And I was like, I should be. Like, I could do anything with a soccer ball. I can do anything with a football. I should be good at these. And I had to go to work, and I remembered why I wasn't good at them immediately upon starting to practice. Because as soon as you start, it's like, oh my God, my fucking toe just got your obviously your toenail turns black and blue. You have that entire thing. But then also your shoes, your cleats are, fine leather now. So those are starting to like rip a little bit at the seam. I mean, it is. You got to really commit to it. So that's why I appreciate whenever somebody hits a good onside kick because I'm like, okay, that person has worked on that. But I think a lot of guys are like, I'm choosing no pain with the way the rules are kind of set up. It's going to be hard to see. I'm going to turn that thing on its side. I'm going to spin it. That worked that one time because Cowboys special teams was just absolutely stooges out there. But to get a good onside, you got to really work at that. And guys used to do it, but I can understand why guys won't anymore because it's like we got no chance of getting this. We got 5 on one side. We can't even overload. We can't even run up. They have to be at a standstill, so we can't run any stacks, which could potentially because you're running like sets over there. You have one guy going, and then somebody's looping around so that person can get it. You're running like actual routes on those guys if you get good at kicking that thing. And it's just like now there's no chance because there's no running starts, no overload, or anything like that. So they've killed the onside kick, but they killed it because CTE, which, by the way, I'm happy they did it. Right? For the good of the game. For the good of the game.
Was there someone that like told you, hey, this is how you have to do it for it to be good, or was it always known this is how?
Trial and error. It's trial and error. There's a couple guys that used to be able to do it with the inside of their foot, and that I tried that a couple times. I'm not flexible. Yeah, because so we got a little camera on it there. Shout out to the hammer dying.
Oh, shit. Is this one easier?
Yeah, that one would be easier there. So whenever you kick an onside kick, you're basically legitimately going straight down on the ball with your toe, hitting the peak of it, and then trying to clear your foot out of the way so that it can bounce behind you, basically. Okay, so to do that, you have to your hip flexor has to open that thing up, your groin is pulling, and you're just going straight down on the ball, bang, and then it's going up into the air behind your leg, basically. Okay, there's a couple guys that were able to do it with the inside of their foot. Janikowski was very good at it. Mason Crosby was very good at it. He used to be able to do it with the inside of his foot. I don't know how the hell he did it, where they would just drive the inside of their foot into it, and they were able to. I was never able to do that, but it used to be an art. Janikowski used to be able to fucking just pop it. Like it would seem like he was doing nothing, and I think that was why a lot of people were talking about how good of a soccer ball striker he was, and I was always like, I'm pretty fucking good too. Like, and he was like so good at it, it like made me better. And Crosby was another one, but now. You can see how you wouldn't want to spend 40 minutes of your time jamming your toe into the top of a football whenever there's a chance that you're going to have no shot of getting it. That's why I have mad respect to Young Ho Koo and Jason Sanders making it happen.
Yeah, to your point, like I feel like 6 or 7 years ago when a team would line up for an onside kick, there was like a legitimate like 15% chance like, hey, we actually might get this. Now it is virtually zero.
Yeah,
so like it's unfortunate because I do still love the onside kick. You
love the thought of it.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like I love the thought of the onside kick, and I think because they changed the rules. Now a lot of people would say that the rules were changed because of what we were doing in Indianapolis, which. That is quite an honor, that whole thing. But with the way the rules have changed, I talked about the first year when the rules changed. I'm like, these guys just got to get better at onside kicks. And then we saw it again the next year, and I was like, these guys got to get better at onside kicks. And then I asked somebody, I'm like, yo, why aren't you guys like fucking working on it? He was like, man, there's like, I mean, we watch film, nobody's open. Like, because you can watch film of those onside kicks and you can see like, oh, if we would have hit it a little bit further, there was a guy that would have had a chance to get it. Or if we would have hit it a little bit more inside towards the number, there was a guy. Now it's like they're all met 5 yards. Yeah. There's just no chance, really. You got to get real creative. I'm like, that makes sense. So I think we all love the idea of the onside kick. I love the idea of the onside kick. I enjoyed the hell out of the onside kick. But I think with what the rules have become due to health and safety of the future, I think it's damn near impossible to get great at those again. I don't think it's going to be possible.
And the one thing I do wonder, too, is like, and we'll see if they actually do it, but if you have like just a juggernaut offense, like if they would be able to like use this to their advantage and get up to the point where it's like there's no way they could come back.
Yeah, well, the 4th and 15 thing, you think to yourself, like what you just said, if Patrick Mahomes and the boys are rolling in the first quarter, after they score, okay, let's go 4th and 15. Okay, let's do that again. I think they're only allowed to do it 2 times. I assume you'd have to save one. I don't know. There's going to be rules, I think, behind it, that whole thing. You're only allowed, maybe they'll be only within like 2 minutes.
I would assume if it made sense, it would be a fourth quarter too, like that type of thing.
Like within 2 minutes, either half or you're allowed to do it. Because if you're the Chiefs and you have a drive where it appears as if the other team can't do a damn thing, like let's run that thing back. Yeah. Let's go. Hey, let's run that thing back. Let's go. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like in a track race 4x1 when you got some blazer running anchor or whatever, but race is already done, pal. Like the offense doesn't. They're going to have to figure that out. So I would assume it would be a time restriction and that whole thing. But I think I'd be pumped for the 4th and 15. I think I would be the last person that people would expect to be all in on this. But it just feels as if you're left with no shot as a kicker to really make something happen. Now, I don't want to change the subject. Jay, did you just answer a fucking phone call in the middle? Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Ty was talking, and Jay's on the phone in the back. What's good?
Yeah, we get random, bad
There's
phone number
4
calls
last
back
week.
here.
It's
Key
insane.
Bank calls us like once a week.
From across the street?
Yeah, I think so.
I hate him.
What the hell?
I hate him.
Just wanted to check in, see how you're doing.
Jay literally while you were talking, Jay just picked up a phone maker. I'm like, who the fuck is Jay talking to?
Last week we had 2 car warranty ones. It was kind of weird.
I'm getting a lot of those lately.
That's spam.
But that's what I'm saying. So what happens? My unsubscribe thing expires?
It must.
Believe so.
Because I'm getting shit in the emails again that I've unsubscribed to a year ago, I think. And they just put that back out there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you gotten the calls yet where they say there's a warrant that's been issued for your arrest unless you can resolve it?
Am I correct?
Got a few.
Maybe. Some unfinished business back in New York, I
We did
guess.
do a background check, but goddamn. I mean, anything can slip through the cracks there. So what's going on now? You're getting called. They're saying, and then you got to give them your social.
It's like an automated message. So it's like Stephen Hawking's speak and spell. Hello, there is a warrant out for your arrest. Please call that number to resolve this issue immediately.
Also, if you could, what do? They get your social security number.
Yep.
And then what does that do? They can get into your accounts with your social security number.
Everything.
Open up
Everything.
credit cards
cards.
in your name.
Buy houses under your
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, those super smart folks, whenever they decide to go that way, I mean, they know it too now. They absolutely know it. I guess there's an entire documentary about these super smart people that just, 8chan, 4chan, whatever the hell that is,
Jeez.
on the QAnon thing.
Dangerous.
Yeah. You got these super smart folks that are just like, I've decided I would like to ruin your life.
Gotcha.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Didn't that almost happen to Connor?
It did.
But you got your social stolen?
No, identity. In Rhode Island, some guy stole my stimulus.
So also your social security. Right?
That is definitely part of the package. If your identity.
Hopefully,
Part of the bundle.
I was talking about the hackers coming at you.
Oh, well,
potentially.
the hackers did come at me. We will not speak on them anymore.
Oh, because you said you were talking about UFC.
Not me. Not anymore.
Yeah, you were.
I heard you talking about
That's
it.
it.
Scratch from the record.
Yeah, dump it. Let's go to Wolfie and Charlotte. What's going on, Wolfie?
Big Wolf.
What's going on, boys?
Hey, just hanging out here on a Tuesday. We basically hammered home all the things there is to talk about in the first 20 minutes, and now we got 2 hours and 40 minutes, pal. What do you want to talk about, Wolfie?
So I know there's a little talk about Gronkowski leaving Tampa to go somewhere else for some money. Do you think he would have given up the opportunity to play against Belichick next year since the NFC South plays the AFC East?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I'm not 100% sure that went directly into his motives or thoughts, but I do find that fascinating if that's true. Is that true? The NFC South plays the AFC
Yeah.
East?
His other
Pat's
reported
got Tampa.
offer, though, was the Bills, where he would have played twice.
Twice a year, and he would have went home. But I do like the thought of Gronkowski thinking like me and Tom taking on Bill next year for sure. We got to do that one more again. If that Gronk house are like, I was going to do a reenactment of a Gronk family gathering. I'm not sure I can get to that level.
Oh, the draft one?
Dude, not just the draft one. You see them on Shark Tank. Anywhere the Gronks go, it is turned to 2000. It is fantastic.
Wrecking balls
I just try to
everywhere.
potentially get there. Yeah, but the thought of the Gronk wrecking ball family, just absolutely, they're all yoked. Just absolutely yoked. Freak athletes. Love protein, love work or whatever. Like, hey, here we go. The thought of them saying, me and Tom get to fucking beat up Bill now. Yeah!
In New England, it'll be as well.
Oh, yeah. Fans will hopefully be back.
So that's going to be a primetime one.
Not sure how the Texas Rangers Stadium guinea pig social test is going to go, but hopefully that goes well so we can get some fans in the stands for when Tom and Gronk come back to town.
Hell yeah.
That'd be great. Who else is potentially going to be down there? Oh, no, Kyle Van Noy's back with the Patriots.
Oh, yeah. Trent Brown back with the Patriots.
Hey, you know when Peyton came back to Indy and played? Robert Mathis. There was now at that time, obviously I didn't know much about player props and betting and anything like that. I knew that it existed. I grew up in Pittsburgh. A lot of Italians, obviously, you know that it exists. But that game, you could have bet everything that you had that Robert Mathis was going to get a sack on Big Ben. Like that was he stripped. Actually, I think we got either a safety or a touchdown out of it. Actually, but that game, it was just like there is a 2,000% chance that Robert Mathis is going to get a sack here, and lo and behold, big time play happens. I assume there's a chance. No, because Kyle Van Noy's already been. Maybe Kyle Van Noy's like, I'm going to get Tom. Robert said, I saw this guy in practice every day. I was not allowed to touch him.
And he hates quarterbacks.
It hates quarterbacks. Wasn't like that. He'd get in there and he had to do a full on, whatever. It was just like a guarantee that whenever that was an awesome little feel. I wonder if Kyle Van Noy would do the same thing. His boy Tom.
Well, for those guys, right? Just like having a sack on a quarterback like Brady or Manning is something that you
like
throw
a
up there
notch.
on the put it on the mantle.
Yeah, because Robert had probably 15 to 16 against Tom Brady over the years, if I had to guess. He's like, I got Tom, I got Aaron, all right, I got Brett, I got him.
Yeah.
Who do I? Fucking Peyton. Yeah. Oh, and I wasn't. Strip sack, touchdown. He's that dude was unbelievable to watch play football. He was on the kickoff coverage team for the first year or two that he was in the NFL.
Yikes.
Robert Mathis.
Right
No
down,
thanks.
right down the middle.
Oh, it would have been fucking awesome. Hey, I'm going to lay this one up short, all right? Yeah. You do what you got to do. Let's get to a break, shall we? Here on this Tuesday. 30 minutes in, not bad.
Hey, not bad.
Here we go.